I haven't had a chance yet because I've been busy every second of the day to read the opinion, but I just saw an excerpt from the great Justice Clarence Thomas, who said that at the original drafting of that language, it was meant to really value and enhance citizenship, and now it's being used to devalue citizenship. I think it's a pretty good way to summarize it. I'm with Clarence Thomas. I'm with the president. I think the court made the wrong decision.
He's with the president. As we know, House Speaker Mike Johnson yesterday criticizing the Supreme Court's decision on birthright citizenship. Let's bring in senior writer at the Dispatch, columnist at Bloomberg Opinion, David Drucker, and publisher of the newsletter The Ink on Substack, Anand Giridharadas. Guys, good morning to you both. Anand, I'll start with you. In reaction to the Supreme Court upholding birthright citizenship, you reposted a personal essay you wrote for The Ink in which you write this, quote, "For all of the dangerous things President Trump has proposed in his first days, the assault on birthright citizenship strikes me as so fundamental because it's an attack not just on a policy question of how and when passports are given out. It's an attack on the idea that anyone can be part of this, that this is a nation of becoming. So fundamental is this culture of becoming that even Trump cannot escape it." I'll let you flesh that out a little more, Anand, and just get your broader reaction to what we saw in the court yesterday.
It was an important ruling and a good day in this country, which is not something we can say all the time these days. You know, I am a birthright citizen, I will say, first of all. I am a citizen. My parents were immigrants. They were legal immigrants at the time, but they were immigrants. And my citizenship came from being born on American soil, specifically the soil of Cleveland. And the reason this ruling is so important is birthright citizenship is not just this legal principle, right? It is deeply connected to what it is, a sort of cultural idea, right? That this is a nation of becoming, that people can become of this. And it's worth noting that there's a lot of other countries that have immigrants, France, Germany, many places in the world, that don't have this principle. And what it changes is there's no notion that what the country is Americanness, the way we accept that Americanness is altered, right? That people can become American and that Americanness can be altered by the blood of people who come here. You go to France, that's not the idea. The idea is Frenchness is this fixed thing. It's these cheeses. It's this blood. It's your grandparents having had to be here. You can sit over here. And I know this because after my parents moved to America in the 1970s, at the end of the 80s, they had an idea of doing it again. They were well established in Cleveland, and they said with my sister and I, let's immigrate again. Let's move to France. And I remember watching them when I was 7 years old, watching them arrive in France, navigate France, and watching it dawn on them that they weren't going to be able to do it again. They were allowed to live there, but they would never be able to become of this. And so this idea of the capacity in this country that we allow people to become American, it shapes the notion that we are a country of becoming, that we are a country of creation, that we are a country that welcomes new ideas. We're a country that is not so scared of our culture, you know, evolving, that we need to lock people out. And I will say, you know, Donald Trump, the part you quoted, Donald Trump may claim that he wants to sort of seal us off from the world, but 2/3 of his own wives are imports. 2/3 of his own wives. And I just want to say to the president, even though I was born in this country and Melania Trump was not, she is every bit as American as I am, and I will never question that.